Are you a professional woman who loves work, but also loves your children, and you want to know how you can create sustainability for both? There's something deep within you that is craving your attention, and maybe secretly you tell yourself, not this. I can't keep going at this pace. How can I create the freedom that I crave so I can be the mother, the woman, the wife, the partner, the friend, the human that feels fully alive while doing work that is in alignment with what your soul craves? So if this is you, I have something free for you, and it's the opportunity to be coached by me. Tuesday, September 24th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am going to be hosting a live round of what I call hot seat coaching. The doors have been open behind the scenes, and I've been talking to amazing women around the world regarding my Soul Elite program. But there's so much crap out there. How do you know what is a right fit for you? So if you feel drawn to work with me at this level and you consider yourself a successful professional, you're a mother, and you want to talk about soul and energy and alignment, and you just want to feel vibrant and alive and make an impact in the world, then I highly suggest you head on over to heatherchauvin.com/uplevel. What you're going to see there is an opt-in page where you can fill out your name and your email, and then you're going to get a link to Hot Seat Coaching. I talk more about that on that page. It's 100% free. Either way, I think you should register so you can hear the replay of how I coach these highly successful women to the next level and give them a little breakthrough. So Heather Chauvin, last name is spelled CHAUVIN.com/uplevel. I look forward to seeing you on the inside and coach you. Okay, so it's midsummer where I live. Kids still have a month off, and I feel like this could be a breaking point. It's the break it or make it point where you choose, is this sustainable? Is this way of parenting in the summer sustainable? And what happens? I get a frequent increase of, why am I yelling? Why am I yelling, Heather? I can't stop yelling. I'm so angry. I'm so resentful. I go to bed and I'm just crying myself to sleep because that was a shit show. And I need to apologize for my children, because if anybody ever treated me the way that I treated my child today, wow, that's borderline abusive. This is an epidemic, guys. We need to talk about it. I was just reading an article, I think it was from that Scary Mom blog, about why do I need to scream to get my child's attention? And that's the issue. We believe we need to scream to get our child's attention. So even though I do not believe in quick fixes, but everybody wants one, I'm sorry, I'm not your person. I created a free training that I posted on Facebook, and I'm going to share the audio with you today about the 3 things, kind of the 3 reasons why you're yelling and what you can do to turn it around. So this might be a podcast that you want to listen to again and again. If you're listening to it while you're moving, while you're driving, just listen to it. It's kind of like an audiobook. And then the second time, I invite you to get out your pen and paper and take some notes. And then the third time, take more notes. And the fourth time, create an action plan. Because I think I may say this until it hurts. Nothing changes unless you do. And you don't physically change by just listening to something. You change when you listen to something and you follow through with the action. Resistance is going to come up. That ugly beast is going to be hardcore in your life. It's going to show up as perfectionism. It's going to show up as fatigue. It's going to show up as anger. It's going to show up, in many funny ways. It might even manifest into
a stomach ache, like ridiculous things, a headache, a migraine, drama in a relationship. It blows my mind what manifests through resistance. So I'm going to stop talking and we're going to jump into the training. So it has a little bit of a different tone. It's definitely not me podcasting. It's kind of more me in a teaching role. So just be mindful of that. I want to make sure that you are in alignment with the life that you want. And one of the biggest excuses that people use is money. Money is one of those things that's an easy scapegoat of like, Heather, I really don't have any. But money is energy, and energy is abundance. And abundance is the frequency at which we allow ourselves to receive. And it goes all the way back to your self-worth and how much you care about yourself and how much you love about yourself. So at the core of everything that you do, the energy that you give yourself, the space you give yourself, how you treat other people is a direct reflection of how you treat yourself. And that too is another reason why you can be yelling. So let's dive into more of this, and I'll see you on the other side. Talk soon, guys.
All right. Hey guys. So I am here doing the free training that I have promised you about. Let's see. Okay, so the 3 main reasons why you're yelling at your kids and what you can do to stop it. So as you know, I'm just going to stop this for a second. Pause share, stop share. There we go. As you know, if you're not familiar, I'm Heather Chauvet. I'm the founder of Mom is in Control. It's a podcast, so you can check it out on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. I talk a lot about my story. So I'm a mother of 3. They're 13, 8, and 5, married, own multiple businesses, multiple 6 figures, and feeling in control of my life. Back in the day, 13 years ago, it was parenting that really cracked me open to possibility. And since then, I've been working with women globally around the world, because this isn't just an isolated issue. It seems to be all over the place, with women feeling out of control in their lives. And I started my career as a social worker and transitioned into coaching because people were saying, Heather, I'm done talking about the problem. I'm done. Like, I don't want to, do past life regression. I don't want to talk about how my parents parented me anymore. How can I feel in control in that moment when I'm with my child? And yes, our past dictates who we are in the present, but we don't need to be that moving forward. So I help you figure that out. I believe that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise ourselves, and we can't do it alone. So the second, I grew up with a single mother, and I was a single parent coming into parenting. And, we wear this like, I can do it all. And it almost killed me. So 4.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer. While my youngest was a year old. And, post baby, I was hustling to get my business off the ground and doing what everybody told me to do, which was #hustle, work more, work when the babies are napping. And it just didn't feel good in my soul and in my gut. And I thought, not this, this is not sustainable. And I did what I've been taught, what every woman typically learns. Put yourself on the bottom of your to-do list. And as we all know, we never get to the bottom of our to-do list. So I had to find a way to feel alive in my life. I talk a lot about this on the podcast. So check it out at momisincontrol.com. Sorry, that's not where you will find it. Check out the podcast, Mom is in Control, on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever. And I talk a lot about my own personal journey, it was crazy. But I really needed to figure out how to feel alive while I was parenting. And one of the one of the things that a lot of my clients struggle with, and a lot of the listeners, because you guys send me emails all the time, and I said, what do you need from me? Like, what are you struggling with? And one of the number one things is yelling.
So I thought I would do a free training on it. My intention is to be about 30 minutes or so. If you're watching this right now, you don't need to, opt in or register for it. This is the free training right now. You're watching this on Facebook. All I ask is if you have one friend that you know would benefit from this, just tag them below in the comments. And if you actually want to receive this actual PDF, just put yes, please below in the comments, and we'll send it to you via Facebook Messenger. So in your private inbox in Facebook, and I'll just literally send you the exact link. You don't need to download anything, but you just got to post yes, please below, and it will automatically send you something in your inbox on Facebook. And like I said, if you know anyone who would benefit from this, definitely tag them below, because that's going to help you have these conversations with other women. There's nothing more annoying than feeling like you're alone on this path by yourself. So you're definitely not alone. All right, let's dive in. So the 3 main reasons why you're yelling at your kids and what you can do to stop this. So I'm going to be talking about how to listen and identify what your body is trying to tell you. So yelling is, it's a symptom to a deeper rooted problem. So I always say your body is speaking to you. Your child's behavior is a language. So why are we yelling? Why are they yelling? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm also going to talk about why it's so difficult to stop yelling and the unconventional habits that you can implement ASAP that will drastically reduce how often you yell. And typically with the clients that I work with, they'll see this within a few weeks if they implement it consistently. Because of course, there's no magic pills here, guys. I'm being real, raw, and honest, and I'm showing you that with a plan and strategy and mindset and commitment and having the right support and accountability around you, you can achieve a lot, and anything is possible. And I am a person. I am a product of that, that if you just show up every single day, change will happen. And I see it happening a lot with my clients who implement. Also, I'm a very woo-woo spiritual person, not so much religious, but I do believe in the universe and all of that fun stuff. So I'm going to be talking about the woo-woo spiritual reason why I think our children trigger us and how this is a sign that good things are happening if you are up for the challenge. Also, after this free training, free information, you're welcome to walk away, implement, take notes, still comment below, yes, please, and I will still send you this PDF, absolutely no strings attached. But at the end of this workshop, if you're like, oh my gosh, I want more, like tell me how to do this, I need you in my life, Heather, then I'm going to be talking about how to take those next steps. And I'll be talking about my mastery program if it feels like a good fit for you. And if mastery is not a good fit for you, tell you how you can even get more freebies from me and go from there. All right, guys. So how to listen. Number 1, how to listen and identify what your body is trying to tell you. So first, I want to tell you a story. I've talked a lot about this. I'll be talking about this in the book that I'm writing and also on the podcast. My body was talking to me for a very, very long time before I got sick. And it actually was talking to me my whole entire life. And I think our bodies are always trying to tell us something, but we're so disconnected from ourselves, and our culture is teaching us to push harder and go, 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 and never sleep. And, early bird catches the worm and all of those ridiculous memes that we see. But in motherhood, it's a little bit different because culturally we feel like we don't have enough time. We don't feel like we have enough energy. We don't feel like we have enough money. And all of these are just limiting beliefs, literally illusions that we've constructed in our mind. I'll tell you, being on the other side of it, where I do feel like I have enough time. Some days I'm like, wow, my plate is full, but I know what I can put off for the next day. I've created sustainability in my life. And my life used to be in survival mode. Everything was in survival mode. So I constantly felt like I was putting out fires. And what I really wasn't doing was creating that momentum in my life to get to the next stage where, like, oh, I can breathe. So a lot of the people that I attract in my world are in crisis mode, and they're wanting to create momentum. They're wanting to get to a thrival state in their life. They have these dreams, they have these desires, but they'll never give themselves permission to go after it because they just feel so overwhelmed. And they're like, how do I organize this all? So 4+ years ago, I was, like I said, hustling, doing what I needed to do, right? Taking care of my 3 boys, working, doing everything that, you and I are taught to do. And my body kept saying to me, slow down, slow down, slow down. And how was it trying to get my attention? Well, I would get sick. I would get a cold. I would get aches. I would get pains. I was getting night sweats. And then my abdomen started to swell. So at first I thought, okay, I have Crohn's or I have a gluten allergy or something. And of course I didn't go to the doctor, and yeah, hindsight is always 20/20. And the reason why I didn't go to the doctor was because I continuously told myself that I didn't have enough time. It's because I didn't prioritize myself. So I said I didn't have enough time. And what I did was I didn't take care of myself. I didn't even know how to feed myself, guys. I would eat breakfast, if that, and wouldn't eat all day because I wasn't hungry, or I was quote unquote too busy, right? You're over there wearing your martyr badge thinking, oh yeah, I'm so busy. Look at me, look at me. And then I would eat dinner and I would just shove anything in my mouth. I was malnourished. And this is a cultural epidemic, and we think it's funny and okay. And, you see memes about it and motherhood, and our bodies aren't functioning properly. So my body kept telling me that I needed nourishment. I felt like I wasn't nourished for a really, really long time. And there was never a really time in my life where I felt nourished because I didn't live that lifestyle. So, what happened was my abdomen just kept growing and growing and growing. And oh my God, I remember taking a picture and I sent it to a family member, and, she texted me back and said, get to the emergency room ASAP. And my gut was telling me like, oh gosh, they're just overreacting. No big deal. So I went to Emerge, and with a CAT scan and blood work on the spot, they said, Heather, you have cancer. And part of me was, immediately it was permission. It was a knowing, right? When someone says something, you're like, oh, I knew it. That's how I felt. Like my body was trying to tell me for a really long time that like it was very, very sick and neglected. And like, it almost brings tears to my eyes right now to realize that as women, we are killing ourselves slowly. If it's not physically, it's mentally. If it's not mentally, it's emotionally. If it's not emotionally, it's spiritually, meaning, whatever your soul is craving, you just push it off, push it off, push it off. And so it was really sad that I had to let it get to that point. And my business was still helping women. It was still helping families at the time. I was more focused on the child. And what I kept hearing was, helping them, introducing mindfulness and meditation and coping strategies for their children. But what I kept hearing from the parents was, I can't do this. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I'm so angry. I'm so frustrated. I can't be present, Heather. And so now what I've realized, and over the past 5 years plus, previous life and social work, was we matter. You matter. As a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner, as a daughter, as a aunt, as a friend, you matter. Your soul cravings matter, and your life and your body are constantly trying to get your attention. So people think it's woo-woo. They think it's weird. They'll go to the doctor and say, what's wrong with me? And these people are educated, guys, but like, we need to take back control of our lives. They see you for 20 minutes. They do not fucking know what is wrong with you, right? People need to spend time with you to know you. And so they do what they've done best, right? They are educated in medicine. And then you get angry and frustrated because you're like,
well, this isn't going to solve my problems. No, it's not going to solve your problems, but that's not what they're there for. They're there for symptom management. And that's when you need to look within and say, what do I need to feel in control of my life? What do I need? What have I been neglecting? What am I not paying attention to? So your insides are screaming out, attempting to get your attention. And I wrote in brackets, wounds. They're screaming out, right? You're constantly being triggered. Dis-ease. The first time I heard that, dis-ease, like disease, I was like, oh, that's good, right? It's not creating ease in our life. It's creating dis-ease. And I'm not one to get in a debate with, did I manifest this? Or, is this past karma and all of that stuff? It is what it is. And I'm still here to talk about it. I do feel like I have a commitment and devotion to living a life in alignment. But I also understand that this human experience is temporary and that at any point, there's things I can't control, but what I can control is how I treat myself, how I treat others. Am I living in alignment with how I want to feel? Is my business in alignment with how I want to feel? Am I living in a lack state, like not enough, not enough? Or am I living in an abundant mindset? Am I being kind and compassionate to my children? Am I being kind and compassionate to myself? So a lot has shifted in my life. There's no more yelling. And I can attest to this. I swear on my life that I no longer yell. It is possible. It is possible. So remember when I said your insides are screaming out at you, and this training is called the 3 main reasons why you're yelling at your kids. So when you're yelling at a child or anybody else, you're angry, you're frustrated. And if I asked you, if you and I were talking and I said, why were you yelling at your child? And you said to me, because I need them to listen, right? Because at the core of it, you just want to be heard, right? And if I said, reflect that back on yourself. So let's just call your child's name, my oldest name's Logan. Logan needs to listen to me. He's disrespecting me. He's not listening. Reflect that back on yourself. So this is from Byron Katie, and I have her information on the sheet below. So Byron Katie, thework.com. Reflect it back on yourself. I'm not listening to myself. I'm not respecting myself. This is deep. This is not a quick fix, right? This is like personal development 101 that we're projecting. Why won't my child listen to me? Why won't you listen to yourself? Your body has been trying to get your attention for so long that now you're screaming because your nervous system is so overreactive. So many times I was yelling previously to getting cancer. And then when I went through treatment, I just couldn't scream anymore. I had no energy. So I started talking to the kids with a low tone and they were listening. So I kept asking myself, why am I not yelling now? And it's because I feel full. My power is back. My energy is back. My life force is back because I've gotten real and raw with myself. And I kind of was done with my own BS or bullshit. And I was like, what am I not listening to? And it would be the parts of me when I would take out my journal and I would write, I want a bath. Something as simple as that. I'm like, when's the last time I had a bath? When's the last time I asked for a bath? Or I needed, yes, sometimes I take a bath and, one of the kids ends up in the tub with me, but at least I'm in the tub. And can I lock the door? Can I tell my husband, hey, can you're on baby duty right now. You're on kid duty. And now the youngest one is 5. So he's old enough to realize like mommy needs space because I've made that a boundary. Too often we're using our children as the scapegoats of I just can't, I don't have enough time because we feel so guilty. So just understand for the sake of this training, because I'm probably going to go over time if I keep talking, your body is screaming at you. So I've also created some journaling questions, some questions to ask yourself. And if you don't take the time, that's okay. But just understand change won't happen if you're not putting energy towards it. Questions to ask yourself.
What feels hard and chronically out of alignment in my life? What am I avoiding? What stories or excuses am I making? So this will start to help you just understand what are those blocks that are getting in your way. And I'm going to add one more here. So using Byron Katie, and this is just a woman, her term, is it true? No, let me say this. Are you respecting yourself? Are you listening to yourself? So what I did there is I just kind of reflected it back. So you want your children to listen to you. You want your children to respect you, and then just reflect it back on yourself. Am I respecting myself? What does that even mean? So sit with that in your journal. All right, let's jump to number 2. I could literally talk on this forever, and I do a lot of that on the podcast. So check it out, Mama's in Control, on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. And like I said, if you want the PDF of this, just write yes, please below. And if you know somebody who would benefit from this training that I'm doing right now that you can just watch, no opt-in, then just tag them below. All right, number 2, why is it so difficult to stop yelling? And the unconventional habits you can implement ASAP that will drastically reduce how often you yell. So this is magic, guys. It seems like magic, but yet it's not rocket science, and people just don't understand it because it's counterintuitive to what we're taught culturally. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say, welcome to the crazy club. Yes, you're going to feel weird. Yes, people are going to judge you. Yes, you're going to be the weirdo, but all of your friends, and if my friends are watching this who, talk about me behind my back and think I'm a weirdo for the lifestyle choices that I've made when I eat vegetables and I meditate and I journal and I work out, often the feedback I get after people have been watching me for a while is like, how do you do it? And, you're going to feel weird because you're a leader in your life. You're the change maker, right? You're the trailblazer. And in order to do that, you're going to ruffle feathers. People are going to judge you. They're going to talk about you. And that's okay. You have to ask yourself, am I more committed to pleasing other people, which FYI, you're never going to be able to do that? Or, because I understand there's a lot of that in parenting. Or do I want to be true to myself and my soul so that I can find freedom and ease and just feel more in alignment with my life and happiness, because happiness definitely doesn't fall on trying to please others. So why is it so difficult to stop yelling? So yelling is a byproduct of, there's like way more explanation here. And if I had a panel of a physician and a naturopath and a therapist and all like a biochemist and all of these different people, you're going to get different answers. So my perspective is it's an overactive nervous system. We all have stress in our life, all of us, kids, adults, everybody. There's good stress, there's bad stress. But most of the time, a lot of the people that I even attract into my world have always felt a little sensitive, right? So you may have been called sensitive. You may be empathetic. You may be compassionate. You can feel energies really, really well. You may be introverted. You may be an extrovert. I have no idea. But most of the people that I attract have always felt like they are a little outside of the group. And what does that mean? They have a really hard time coping with energy. So when someone's mad at them, they're like, how do I manage this? It almost feels like someone just puked all over you when you walk into a room or you talk to somebody and you're like, wow, now I'm holding on to their energy. How do I get rid of this? And that's something I can help you with in how I work with people. But I'm going to give you just some pointers right now. So one thing, how do I stop yelling? This is a strategy that I use with people, and oftentimes I'll just tell you what typically happens. So it's stop, think, and breathe. So you catch yourself, you're like, I want to yell at my kid. You're going to stop because you're in your red zone. You're going to think about it. Like, why am I about to yell? You're going to breathe. And you're going to walk away. And you're going to re-enter when you're in your green zone, when you're like, cool, you're not yelling anymore. But that is a reactive strategy. So you're in the moment, you're in the heat of the moment. That's like very reactive, right? But guys, part of the reason is you need to be proactive. Proactive. Think about how many people live proactive lifestyles. Like, I'm going to eat my green veggies and work out every day because I want to be energized and strong. Typically, we are taught to eat the green veggies and work out because you want to lose 10 pounds to fit into that nice summer bikini. It's lack mentality. It's like one size fits all. It's the quick fix. That is not reality. So I am here to bust through that BS that we've been taught. And this is about sustainability. This is about, creating a lifestyle that fuels you, that is long-term. You don't need to be like, out of the gate going 100% every day, but you can just do little subtle shifts to make a big difference. So one big game changer is meditation. I'm a huge advocate of meditation and mindfulness. You are literally inhaling through your nose and exhaling. There are many different ways, meditation and mindfulness, and you're going to tell me you can't do it because your mind, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of research behind meditation and mindfulness. When I first started this whole journey, it wasn't as popular as it is today, and it has nothing to do with religion. It is about using your body to heal itself. Your breath, you have lungs, using those lungs to calm down your nervous system to relax your stress responses. So if you're not familiar, I'll just put this here as a resource. Check out Headspace. Headspace, it is an app, a free app. Looks like an orange ball. Check that out for meditation, Headspace app. Again, if you want this PDF, just post yes, please below, and I will send it to you in your Facebook inbox. No opt-in required. So I want to talk about Melissa's story. Her name is not Melissa, but I'm using that just to be respectful. So oftentimes I'll get women who come to me and a child's behavior is out of control. They're angry, they're anxious. And, she's trying to cope with it. She's like, Heather, what am I doing wrong? I feel like I'm failing as a mother. I'm trying to hold everything together and I just don't understand what my son is trying to tell me. And this is very typical. And I'm like, well, his behavior is trying to tell you something. And what oftentimes people don't realize is that their child is very sensitive, but it can be projected as anger. And so when you have an angry child, what do? Don't do that, right? You punish them, you put them in timeout, and the child is like, what did I do wrong? Because they don't understand. They have no coping strategies. So when people start with me, oftentimes we implement meditation or mindfulness and journaling. It's like, let's get grounded. Let's get back to square one. And we can do this with your child, not with your child. And so what happened with Melissa was she started implementing this and her stress response went down. So one, she wasn't so reactive towards her son, and that shifted the behavior a little bit. But what else happened was she was able to see, and we were able to see that her son was really struggling, and he had some stuff that needed additional support. And so now he's able to use more of his language to say, Mom, I'm freaking out. I'm stressed out. I'm overwhelmed. And he's not so reactive. And of course, this is a journey and there's no right or wrong here. But for a woman who used to go to bed crying herself to sleep every night and saying, I'm a complete failure, why can't I figure this out? To within months, literally within months and weeks saying, oh my gosh, I now know what my son's behavior is telling me. I feel in control of this. And when I feel like things are getting out of control, I know how to get back in alignment. And so I'm here as the coach and the guide to teach you these things and to point you in the right direction and to show you where you're getting yourself stuck. But this isn't a codependent relationship, right? So when you drop your child off at a therapist's office, which I'm a huge advocate of therapy, by the way, it takes a village to raise a child. But when you drop your child off at these these sessions, you're like, well, what do I do at home? What do I do in the moment when my child is freaking out? How do I cope with that? How do I connect with my child? So this is it, guys. When you are becoming this leader in your life, you are creating change. you are breaking these generational patterns. And that's something we're going to talk about very soon. So understand, why is it so difficult to stop? One, because your stress hormones are through the roof because you have no coping strategies. And you're going to have to think outside of the box in order to, calm yourself down. Take a deep breath and realize that change needs to happen. So there's some more questions to ask yourself here. So getting out your pen and paper, and I know you're not going to like journaling, but that's just part of life. Where do I put myself on my priority list, right? If your lifestyle isn't sustainable and you're not putting yourself on your priority list, you're always going to make an excuse. When is the last time I did something for myself, even if I received pushback for doing it? So oftentimes when we're making change in our lives, our partners aren't really supportive. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe your employer, your child, people around you, and be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And when we have that fear of judgment, it's really hard to take action. This was something that happens to me all the time. And, I have to go within and do my meditation practice, my mindfulness, and say, what do I want? And it's okay. And creating those boundaries. And that's exactly what I teach you guys. And how do I connect with myself on a daily basis? So if you're in a place of getting up, doing the kids, just being on autopilot, and you're kind of feeling numb, that's, you're not connecting with yourself. So I'm going to help you get back to you. But just to help you get started, definitely try out Headspace. You can do it 3 minutes a day. And if you think you can't afford 3 minutes a day, investing 3 to 5 minutes of yourself, on yourself, we have a bigger problem, because that's part of the issue is you keep saying, I don't have enough. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. And we really need to stop using that as an excuse for keeping ourselves safe. The last one, the woo-woo spiritual reason why I think our children trigger us, and how this is a sign that good things are happening if you are up for the challenge. Okay, guys. So I've been on this parenting journey for 13 years as I'm recording this. And every child I have, all 3 boys, I always say parenting is personal growth on steroids. And every child has taught me something else about myself. I'm triggered on a daily basis by my children, my husband, everybody in my life. Triggers is, when someone pisses us off, right? Someone, why did they do that? And it's always a reflection of a wound within ourselves that needs to be healed. The really cool part is, as you continue to do this work, one thing, so I'll give you an example. This is a silly example, and I hear these all the time. So no, you're not alone, and it's okay. Have you ever had a child call you by your first name and you just feel like it's so disrespectful, right? So my son was outside the other day and he's like, Heather, and we were in the pool, and he wasn't trying to get my attention. He was just being funny because that's his personality. A few years ago, if he would have called me Heather, I would have thought that was very disrespectful. And he said Heather, and it didn't even trigger me. And I was like, what's up, buddy? And then he called me mom. And I don't know if he was trying to trigger me or if he was just being playful, because that's just his personality. So that's a perfect example of how we can heal these patterns and wounds in our lives, where another child it might be verbal. It might be that this child challenges you to your core, depending on your child's abilities or limitations. So a lot of people in my world who listen to the podcast too were, I'll just say this nicely, gifted with children who are really rocking them to their core, meaning your child might require more of you. They might not fit into the mold, and you have to really learn to advocate for them and stand in your power. What my children have also taught me is that self-care, taking care of myself and managing my energy, is the number one thing, like the greatest gift that I will ever give my children. Because eating healthy, getting down to how much water I drink and how much coffee I'm drinking. I go through spurts where typically I'll have one a day, but then sometimes I won't drink any coffee at all. And for a long time, I couldn't drink coffee because I was so angry. And coffee would make me more anxious, and the anxiety at dinner time, where I'm like, oh, I'm kind of falling off my rocker at the end of the day, and I wasn't managing my energy because I wasn't eating properly. One of the kids would scream and I would just react and yell. So I had to show up to these challenges and go, not this, right? Not this. I don't want to be yelling at my child or children during dinner time. So what do I need to do to feel full? What do I need to do to feel on my game? And the second I started looking at it that way, I realized that this is the woo-woo spiritual reason why our children trigger us. I believe, adopted or not, your children were put in your life for a reason, to help you grow. And we have two options. We can show up to the challenge or we can regress. And oftentimes, this is life in general. It doesn't have to be children. It could be anything. People were put into our lives to help us grow or help us regress. And you will see where, you say, am I up for the challenge? Am I going to say, what do I need to do? Right? What actions do I need to take? Or am I going to go back into this rabbit hole and fall into this deep depression and say, poor me, and become the victim of my circumstance? And this is what I see as a cultural epidemic, where women say, I can't do it all, but look at me, I'm doing it all. I'm super mom. Yeah, guys, all you have to do is drink a big glass of wine every night and then you can function. Guys, this is why we have this, why it's socially acceptable to have wine glasses that say mom o'clock on it, or wine time, or, mom juice. Like, it's freaking disgusting. It's honestly disgusting because it's very unconscious. And yeah, have your glass of wine. I'm not against wine, but when you need it to cope and you're using it as a coping strategy, it's not pretty. And it's this underlying taboo subject that nobody apparently is talking about. And then I'm considered the weirdo because I see this cultural epidemic of women trying to do it all and then crying themselves to sleep saying, I'm feeling like a failure. Or wouldn't it just be easier if I, somehow got admitted into the hospital so I can have a vacation from my life? That's when shit needs to change. So you're not alone. You're not alone. Am I fully committed to this process? Actions versus words. Sometimes when I'm working with people, there's an application process to work with me one-on-one. They're like, yep. And they start, and their actions are not in alignment with what they want. They'll say, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm going to do this, but you're not doing it. Am I really doing the work or just interested in it? So this is something I like to talk about a lot, which is inspired versus transformed. People say, you're so inspiring, Heather. And I'm like, great. What are you doing about it? Because being transformed is not always inspiring. I'll tell you that right now. A lot of times I don't want to freaking do the work. I don't want to get up and work out. I don't want to meal prep. I don't want to meditate. I don't want to look at my money all the time. It's gotten easier. And now I think it's fun, probably to a fault. And people think I'm crazy about that too. But understand that at the beginning, oh my gosh, it's so uncomfortable. And then the momentum happens and you're like, oh, I love this. I'm addicted to this good feeling now. So being inspired is like, ooh, that feels good, but you didn't actually do anything. You heard a good story. You had a good cry because you were watching one of those Facebook videos. Being transformed is showing up to do the work. Showing up to do the work. So guys, that's the free training for you. I talked about the 3 main reasons why you were yelling at your kids and what you can do about it. So the 3 main reasons were you're not paying attention to what your body and your life is showing you. You have no coping strategies, or you're not utilizing the coping strategies that you do have to manage your stress. And you got to show up to the challenges, right? So take yelling as a challenge. Don't fire away from it. Don't say, oh gosh, blaming our kids. So I understand that there's a lot more that I could tell you here, and I definitely do in my other free trainings and all the free content that I give on my website. So head on over to heatherchauvin.com. There's some freebies there. I also talk a lot about this on the podcast, the Mamas in Control podcast. So that's it. Thank you so much. And just know you're not alone. All right, guys, talk soon. And thank you so much for being here, for watching, for listening, and just know you're not alone.